Okay, so we are back here. Now what I'm going to do now is to even complicate things further by adding another end device. I'm going to set up a server, right? A generic server, server 0, and I'm going to set a cable, which will be a crossover cable again, from fast Ethernet ports, right, to server to the fast Ethernet 00 on my router interface. And I'm going to configure the interfaces both on server as well as the router interface too as well. I'm going to use a class B address. I'm going to just type in my server here. I'm going to dress up this packet trace exercise in a little while. I'm going to configure my IP address on my server as a 172.16.1.100. Alright? And I'm going to set up my default gateway on my router as 172.16.0.1. Alright? And I'm going to not add a DNS server. So again, I'm going to set 172.16.1.100 using the class B addressing scheme. And I'm going to have my default gateway on my router as 0.1. So I will go again in my router 1, use the GUI tool again. And I'm going to set up my fast Ethernet 0/0 as 172.16.0.1 as its default gateway for the server. And again, I'm going to set the port status as on in terms of no shutdown. Alright? And you can see that the connection is there. Now I could ping successfully from server to my default gateway. Alright? Now what if we try to ping from PC 0 to server 1? And let's just tidy up this thing a little bit here. This is 192.168. This is the 1 network. .1.0. This is the 1 network. And this is the 192.168.5.0 network. Right? The router has its own default gateway, both .5.1 on interface and .1 on its other interface, fast Ethernet. And the server takes up 172.16.1.100. Alright? And between here is the 10 network. 10.0.0.0. Alright, so there's a /8. Alright? /16. And these two here is a /24. Before we try to ping, which we know it would not be successful from PC 1 to server 1, because we'll have to add some route. Again, as we said, that the router has its own default gateway. Let's examine the routing table of router 1. Alright, Control C. I'm going to show IP route. And we can see now that the 10.0 via is directly connected. And we also have a directly connected network as 172.16/16 that is directly connected on router 1. And let's examine router 0 routing table, which is supposed to be the same because we haven't added any static routes. Right? So in order for PC 1 to get to this network, this router also will have to have its own default route to get out of that network. And how do we do that? And again, if you try to ping, and we could try the ping command, we know it would not be successful if we try to ping from PC 1 to the server 172.16.1.100. It would not be successful. The destination will be unreachable. Right? So again, we could do two things here. We could set up a gateway of last resort, right? Or we could connect a static route. Alright, so again, each router would need to have its own default gateway. So we would need either a gateway of last resort being set up in its routing table. So this router would also have its own default gateway to go out via to get to the server. That's router 0. And likewise router 1 would have to set up its own static route to go to the 5 network and as well as into the 1 network. And that is what we're going to look at in our next lesson.